Hi, it's Dr. Sherri here. I want to quickly take a minute and show you this really nice female hormone panel. Now, if you've ever gone to your doctor and you've asked for them to test hormones, they'll do that, and they usually do that by blood, and they'll do it that a particular day in the cycle. So what at the end of getting the test back, what you see is what your hormones were like on that particular day in your cycle. And often that's just not quite enough information. So that's why I really love this female hormone panel, because what you do is after the end of a month, you're given a graph and it shows exactly where you are during different parts of your cycle. So we look at estrogen and progesterone and DHEA, and we can look at the averages, we can look at the ratios between the two, which is really, really important, because it's one thing to say your estrogen's in a normal levels, or your progesterone's in a normal level, but how is it in relation to each other? Because that balance between estrogen and progesterone is probably the most important factor versus just how much of one or the other that you're making. So we can get to see the ratio, we can see what happens right before ovulation, we can see what happens right before menses, and if you are really careful and you during a month you really take a detailed symptom history and a symptom survey as you're going through your month, you can really correlate this quite nicely with this lab panel and see what's happening throughout your cycle. And that's where you can get some great detailed information. And I'll be honest and tell you, this is not the easiest collection, because it does require you to take samples throughout the month. So if you're on a regular 28 to 32 day cycle, you basically break up your cycle into 3-day chunks. And within each of those 3 days, you're collecting a sample at home. It's a saliva sample, so you're spitting into a tube. And then at the end of the month, you've got all these tubes, somewhere between 7 and 11 tubes that you're packaging up and you send to the lab. And then they give us this nice printout, which is a wonderful, wonderful test to run. It gives us great information, but it's not the easiest test to collect. It's a lot easier to just go into a lab one day and do a blood draw and get that one-day results. But if you need the extra information, particularly if you feel like you've been struggling with hormonal issues for a while, this really does give you a great level of detail. And actually, you can look here and see, we can look at estrogen and progesterone, and we can see those ratios, looks at DHEA and testosterone, but it even goes into a lot more detail. We can look at how the hormones are surging. We can look and see what our ovulation is like. We get an estrogen index, so we can certainly see this balance of estrogen and progesterone and what it looks like over time, and look and see what our output is. You can see it's a quite detailed panel. This panel in particular is for women who are premenopausal. There's actually even more detailed panel for women that are postmenopausal, and we can look at some other parameters. But I like for people to know that this exists. I've noticed in practice when I tell people about this female hormone panel, people get really excited when they realize that they can actually look at this level of detail throughout a cycle. It's quite eye-opening, because I think we all realize that just looking at that one day doesn't quite give us the entire picture. So knowing that this is a possibility is definitely changes things and makes it exciting for those of us who have struggled with hormonal issues. So let us know if you have any questions. I hope you have a healthy day.